Good. Very good. Welcome to our virtual MBA open house at Marshall University's Lewis College of Business, the home of the Brad D. Smith Schools of Business. My name is Glenn Midkiff. I'm the director of the Center for Stakeholder Engagement for the college. Let me give you an itinerary of how this presentation will go on. First, the Dean Avi will welcome everyone and give a brief introduction to our schools and college. Secondly, Associate Professor and MBA Director Mark Solisi will discuss the MBA curriculum and the benefits of the program. And then Wes Spradlin, he's the Associate Director of the Brad D. Smith Graduate School of Business. He will talk about the admissions process and what it takes to get into the MBA program. And then we'll hear from a couple of our successful alumni. We have a few on here. We have Alex, and we have also Cody. And finally, we'll take a few questions from the chat or Q&A box. Just a friendly reminder, just please keep your mic muted while the presentation is occurring. Thank you. Now let's get started. Since starting at Marshall University in July of 2017, Dr. Avi Mukherjee has led a comprehensive reimagination of our college, the Lewis College of Business, in active collaboration with numerous and external and internal stakeholders. Welcome, Dean Avi.
Thank you. Thank you, Glenn. Thanks, everybody. Welcome to this program. You know, what I'll do first is to talk a little bit about the Lewis College of Business and about the university and its directions right now. And then you will hear more about the program from the faculty and the program administrators. We are really at a very exciting time in the history of our college and the entire university. The Carnegie Classifications of Higher Education recently recognized Marshall University as a research university in the R2 category, which places it in the top 6% of all universities in the country. The Lewis College of Business has a long history and tradition. We have had business programs offered through the university for the last 100 years. And the School of Business, which then became the College of Business, celebrated its 50th anniversary in 2019. One of the things that we take special pride in is the fact that in 2018, our alumnus, Brad D. Smith, the former CEO of Intuit and the current chairman of the board of that company, came forward with his wife, Elise Smith, to make a transformative donation of $25 million to the College of Business at Marshall. What led as a result is an entire reimagination and transformation of the college in terms of an overhaul of the curriculum and the entire of the College of Business and all its programs. The MBA program is the flagship program of the College of Business. What we have through the MBA program and the entire college is an accreditation that we think is exceptionally special. Only 1.5% business schools, and in fact around the world, are accredited in both business and in accountancy by AACSB International, the premier accrediting body of business schools worldwide. So we are exceptionally proud of that. And there are only 2 universities in the state of West Virginia that has this prestigious accreditation. We are also very proud of our alumni, about 12,000 alumni who have made it very successful in the world of business over the years. A lot of them are from the MBA program. 2 past governors, the current governor and the past governor of the state of West Virginia, are MBA alums from Marshall. We also have CEOs of leading companies and C-suite members of companies like Intuit. We have Thomson Reuters, Simon Properties, Comcast, Cisco Systems, and the list goes on. There are senior representatives of these companies who are Marshall alumni who are doing extremely well in these large companies. Our business school is also entirely and extremely global in our approach. We have strong global partnerships with about 11 universities in China and India, and we are expanding on our global outreach as we speak. One of the most exciting things about the Lewis College of Business is that we are getting a new building for our college, which is currently in the process of conceptualization and design. And we are going to have the building ready by the end of 2023. And that is extremely exciting because we are looking at a space that will be exceptionally geared up to offering world-class education. I do want to mention a quote from our benefactor, Brad Smith. When he came up with this gift, Brad said to us that thank you for all your hard work, time, and enthusiasm. We are jazzed to be a part of such an exciting plan to reimagine the business school and set it up in a position of excellence that competes with other best business schools in our country. We hope it to be a way to truly change and improve business in the state of West Virginia and beyond, and give students from all over top tier educational opportunities that will allow them to succeed in all they do in the future. Brad ended that quote with the hashtag game changers. That's really where we are. It's a very exciting time in our evolution. This is a great place to come and do your MBA. Welcome, everyone. And I'll
Thank you, Dean Alvey. Now I would like to introduce to you Dr. Mark Solacey. Dr. Mark Solacey is he's an associate professor of management, and he's also the MBA director. He's been a faculty member since 2013, I believe, and
Yes.
many of his former students, and I've heard he's well known for his management strategy courses. And so we're glad that you could join us today, Dr. Solacey.
My pleasure, President. It's my pleasure, and thank you very much, Dean Avi, for that introduction to the school. It's my pleasure to take a few moments and sort of review what the MBA program is all about here at Marshall. So I'm going to take a moment. I'm going to flip over to share my screen with you. So here we go. And hopefully everything is copacetic and you can see it. So as it says right on the bottom, we are the Lewis College of Business and the Brad D. Smith Schools of Business. Of course, what we're talking about is the Brad D. Graduate School of Business here at Marshall. I'm on. It was supposed to shift. It was doing it a moment ago. Try it again. All right, the program is designed really for one purpose. I mean, when it's all said and done, all of the programs here at the Lewis College of Business, be the MBA or any of our other master's graduate programs or even our undergraduate program, really are designed to prepare you for career advancement and placement. I mean, that's where our job gets most successfully measured, is how successful you are in your career. Really, we emphasize on the application of theory in the real world of business. I mean, theory is wonderful, but unless you know how to apply it in the real world, it's just that, it's theory. So much of what we do within the MBA particularly is emphasize the critical and rational thinking skills, your ability to solve problems, analyze what's going on. And then we can't forget that communication skills are becoming even more important than they were in the past. Not everything is limited to a tweet or an instant message. We have to learn how to communicate both written and orally. And then finally, the managerial skills that go along with all of this. The program is really developed around and provides you with a highly diverse and experienced faculty with educational and professional backgrounds in many disciplines and from around the world for that matter. I mean, our faculty cover and span the globe. I think we have representation for every continent in the world with the exception of Antarctica, and that's because we could not find a penguin with a doctorate. If we could find one, he'd be on faculty. We cover all of the disciplines that you would view within a business career: business administration, finance, marketing, accounting, management, economics. As you can see from the slide, it is quite comprehensive. The program is 36 credit hours, and you'll see a lot of programs out there. And the number of credit hours and the number of courses spans all sorts of different combinations and permutations. Ours is a more classic approach in that regard. It's a 12-course program. Each course is worth 3 credits, so you get 36 credits, and it has a 9-course core. And I'm not going to bother reading to you every course up there, but as you can see from the list, it really does cover all of the fundamental functions in business. So it really doesn't make any difference where you ultimately will end up. These are skills that, regardless of where you end up in what career path, are going to be fundamental and instrumental to your long-term success. We then also provide 9 credits or 3 courses for you to take as an elective. And really, this is something that the dean and I and the rest of the faculty have become very, very passionate about. Even though it's 2 courses to earn a concentration, we are thinking about trying to move them to 3. because we think 2 is not enough. Really, you need a concentration. You need to demonstrate this is a master's level program. You have to be able to master an area. So 3 courses in a concentration. We're also very firmly believe that though a general MBA is still a valid approach, it really serves in your best long-term professional, track to be constant, have a concentration in an area where you really have gotten more depth. You dive deeper into the material and therefore bring to your employer, bring to your career a far deeper level of understanding. So as you can see there, most everything here, and one of the things we really didn't address going on, we need to right now, and I will even further on, is as you can see every course up here, you can see we cross. So some of these are also Masters of Science programs that exist within the College of Business. We have an MS in accounting. We have an MS in healthcare administration. We have an MS in human resource management. So, I mean, we have, you're drawing from those in-depth courses as well, those in-depth programs to put together a very, very comprehensive program. Most of these courses are all available both in all of our delivery modes. There are 2 areas that right now are only currently available in the face-to-face mode. Now, what happens if you don't come with a business degree? This is a very common question that's asked, and I don't have a degree in business. I got a degree in some other area, and now realized that as my career began, as I went out into the work world, that there is a value to going back and having a business degree. Well, those of you who wish to pursue, we do have up to 5 business foundation courses that you may need to take. And these courses really are foundational in that they provide you the base knowledge you would be required to understand walking into any MBA program. Without these, you'd sit in the MBA program, we might as well be talking in ancient Aramaic. Now, to get through these courses, you need a minimum of a B grade to be accepted into the MBA program. So that is what is required to get there. These courses really are offered. Basically, there are undergraduate courses in these areas, and these are the same principles level classes that any business student would take. So for those of you who do come without a business degree, this will prepare you for moving forward into the MBA. Program structure. We're proud of this. Matter of fact, I joined the faculty in 2013. By 2016, we were well on the way, and definitely by 2017, to be able to provide a totally online MBA program, which means that the student you can be anywhere in the world and actively participate in our MBA program. But really the way the program is designed is I like to think of it as a lifestyle program. And by that, I mean that you have the ability to take courses both face-to-face and online, depending on what meets and what satisfies your personal and business requirements. So if you happen to be located geographically in an area here in the Huntington area, Huntington-Charleston area, and want to take courses face-to-face, we welcome that. But if for some reason while you're taking those classes, something comes up that requires, well, gee, I may be traveling a lot this semester for my business or whatever I'm doing, I don't want to have to stop taking courses, then the online option becomes available. And then for those of you who are remote from Huntington, who may have fond memories if you've got your undergraduate degree here, but you've moved off into other parts of the country, if not the world, that program is still available to you in an online environment. Now, the only caveat being is if you elect to enroll totally as an online student, you don't have the benefit of being able to take face-to-face classes. However, if you're enrolled as a traditional face-to-face student, you always have the option of taking any class online. And right now, the Healthcare Administration Concentration Program is really a totally virtual program, which is a term that probably has become increasingly familiar to all of us as a result of the current COVID situation. These are courses that are delivered not only asynchronously, but synchronously using video technology to a greater or lesser degree. All right, the program structure. And I believe this is where we move into, I'm going to let Wes take these things. Wes? I can't hear you. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here. Did you want to cover the tuition part first?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. All right, so as you can see, and one of the other things we're really very proud of is, and I hate that when people say we're cheap. Cheap connotes quality. We are far from cheap. We are a high quality program, but it happened to be very, very competitively priced. I mean, if you use the value proposition, there is no higher value, I think, anywhere in the country among AACSB accredited school MBA programs that will provide you the quality of the education at the cost that we ascribe to it. So you can see on West Virginia residents in the traditional mode, $520, $521 per credit. Distance and virtual online for 18. The metro area is a number of counties surrounding basically the footprint of Huntington. So there are a lot of those, there's a couple of counties in Kentucky and Ohio. That rate is up there. And then non-residents of those are anywhere else around the world. And again, I think if you were to do some comparative shopping, and I encourage anybody looking at a program, you need to look at the program, but don't let price be the key driver. But you need to look at the value of the program. So look at what the program is providing and what the costs are. I think you'll find that we truly are an exceptional value for anybody interested in our program. Why? Why Marshall? Well, as the dean mentioned, we are AACSB accredited. You know, they're all, when you start to look at the number of business schools and the people professing to offer business education around the world, only a very, very small number have that accreditation. And that puts a great deal of onus on the college and on the faculty. You know, as faculty members in an AACSB accredited institution, not only do we have to be able to provide excellence in teaching, but we also have to demonstrate excellence in research, which means we have to stay current in our respective fields and disciplines. We are published. We help bring notoriety to the university in that regard. And we also have high standards as it relates to service, both to the university as well as to the students. And that probably is first and foremost the most important service aspect we have to bring. We have consistently been ranked among the top programs in the country by the Princeton Review, the Times Financial, you know, a number of different organizations. And these rankings don't come easy. I mean, they're based upon an objective view of the value proposition we bring. We are by far an internationally known institution. The name Marshall is known worldwide for any number of different reasons. Again, I think we have an exceptionally qualified and well-recognized faculty. And bottom line, it is an exceptional value that this program does bring. Now, Wes, your turn.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Solacey. So I'm going to cover just the admissions process and the requirements for the program. So here is outlines all the documents that would need to be submitted to be eligible to get an admissions decision. One, you would need to complete the application, which can be found on the graduate admissions webpage. From there, you can either print it off and fill it out if you want to mail it in, or the easiest way to do it is to go ahead, fill it out online, submit it. Then you'll be prompted to pay the application fee, which is $40. If you are a Marshall graduate, they'll be able to pull your academic transcripts and add that to your application packet. But if you are outside of Marshall, or maybe you've taken some classes and transfer them into Marshall, you may need to submit and request the official transcripts. And those need to be submitted directly from your undergrad institution or whatever institutions you've taken courses directly to the Marshall Graduate Admissions Office. All applicants for the MBA program are required to submit a resume. And that's not something that we necessarily use to evaluate your work experience in terms of if you're going to be admitted or not. It's more so that we like to get more information on our students, what background you're in, what fields you've worked in. So that's more so kind of for our records. But a resume is required for all applicants. If your GPA is below a 3.0, we would require 2 letters of recommendation. And those can be from your professional or academic background. So it could be professors, advisors, deans, or employer, supervisor. But like I said, that's actually if your GPA is between a 2.5 and a 3.0. So that wouldn't be required if your GPA is above a 3.0. Finally, that's actually all that would be required for domestic applicants. If your GPA were to be below a 2.5, then some students, if you want to try to make a case for admission, you can submit a statement of purpose or other documentation. GMAT or GRE is not required for the program, but if you have taken it, you're welcome to submit those scores as well. And also, I should say, international students may need to submit additional documentation such as English proficiency, also possibly financial guarantee or any other documents that the International Admissions Office may require. Here outlines the different types of admission. So if you have above a 3.0 overall GPA from a regionally accredited institution, basically it's just that you have to fill out the application, like I said, pay the application fee and submit your resume, official transcripts, and then you would be eligible for full admission. If your GPA is between a 2.5 and a 2.99, you would need to include, as I mentioned before, the 2 letters of recommendation. And when you have those, they can be mailed or emailed directly to the graduate admissions office to add to your application packet. If you have maybe below a 3.0, but you've taken all the business foundations courses that Dr. Solacey mentioned, and you have a 3.0 average in those, we can use that also towards admission to the program. And finally, if you have a doctoral degree, we do see some students who maybe are practicing physicians, or if you have a JD, if you're a lawyer, then that would meet the requirements for admission as well. You can be conditionally admitted to the program, and that would be if you are not officially graduated yet. Maybe you're in your last semester, but you do meet all the other qualifications. You can go ahead and apply before you officially graduate, be conditionally admitted. That way you can go ahead and register for the upcoming semester, get your classes all worked out, and then once you officially graduate, we would switch you from conditional to full. And the last option would be provisional admission, and this is not very common. There's a few exceptions made here, but that would be an instance where if your overall GPA was below a 2.5, you want to submit some of those additional documentation. Maybe it's been a long time since you've had your bachelor's degree, you've had a lot of great experience, and you want to kind of make your case to the committee. You can provide letters or things like that to kind of help the committee to know more about your background and make an admissions decision there.
Thank you very much, Wes. Now I'm going to turn it back over to Glenn, who is going to be able to introduce a couple of our alumni. This slide that's up now, I'm going to take down, but I'll put it back up after these individuals speak, so that as we're answering any questions that may come up through the chat box, you'll have some contact information.
Thank you, Dr. Solacey and Wes. Now I'm excited to introduce you to one of our successful alumni, or I should say one of our alums. He recently graduated. I'll say recently, but it seems recent to me. In 2018, his name's Cody Hatton. Cody is an economic development specialist at the Greater Lawrence County Area Chamber of Commerce in Ohio. So Cody, tell us about your current role and what you're doing and how your MBA experience prepared you for it.
Thanks, Glenn. Good to see a lot of familiar faces here. Mark, Wes, everyone. Very good to see you all today. I've worked in economic development for about 5 years. Started in Wayne County's Economic Development Office and currently for the Lawrence Economic Development Corporation here in South Point. Currently, I'm over a lot of the marketing. So we do a lot of property revamps. So we'll take properties and either build a variety of buildings, whether it's spec buildings for manufacturers, or if we're looking at maybe retail opportunities. So when we have that space, my job is to go online and use digital marketing tactics to push those properties out and find ways to connect them with business owners, big or small. It's really been a great way to stay constantly updated with the different digital marketing techniques, which is a lot of what I focused on, my undergrad and my MBA. And so the MBA really prepared me for that, but it also prepared me for a lot in communications, because we're constantly networking and communicating with the state for funding opportunities or working with different businesses, finding ways to meet their needs. So I'm definitely in a lot of those conversations where my MBA has prepared me for those communications, whether it's phone, email, or in-person meetings. And overall, just every area of the MBA program, even in accounting, I help a lot through our QuickBooks and different things with financing, having to do loan applications and grant applications. Really overall, the MBA prepared me to step into the business world with confidence and to really make sure I work towards the advancement of my career best I can. And honestly, Marshall couldn't have prepared me better. They've done a fantastic job, all of the team, from the moment I stepped in as a student. So it's been a great opportunity to get my MBA there. And I encourage everyone who is like, oh, where do I want to go? I'd say Marshall, 1000%.
Thank you so much, Cody. Thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to do that. And our next graduate alum that we have is Alejandro Valadares, and we like to call him Alex. Alex was a graduate assistant as well as Cody in the dean's office. But Alex graduated in 2020. He's an assurance associate at Pricewaterhouse in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So Alex, tell us about what you're doing. You recently graduated and how your MBA experience impacted your career.
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. First of all, it's good to see some of your faces again. I know it's only been a few months, but it feels like forever with everything that's been going on. So I hope you guys are all doing well. And yeah, I'm happy to talk. I'm always happy to brag about my alma mater. So I currently work for PricewaterhouseCoopers out of their Tampa Acceleration Center. I'm currently working in Fort Lauderdale because we are virtual. So what I am is I'm an assurance associate. Essentially, it's an auditor. So I work a lot with clients and a lot of analyzing documents is the best way I can put it. But Dr. Solicy mentioned something when he was speaking, and it was about, analyzing, and it's something that he always talked to me about personally when I was in the program. And it was just kind of about getting different perspectives and being able to analyze and use the information you have. And I think that's one of the best things that the MBA gave me, was that ability to view different perspectives, whether it's the typical accounting background that I got in my undergrad, or whether it's a marketing perspective or an economics perspective. There's just so many different angles that there is to view a problem within business. And each class that you take within that MBA program and each professor is going to kind of show you a way to be able to apply those perspectives to see a bigger picture and be able to really solve the problem how it should be, instead of just being narrow-minded. And I mean, being a recent graduate, we saw a lot of experiential learning, and it's a lot of things that was able to teach me, again, as Dr. Salsi said, just real world applications. And I think that's carried over into my career, just kind of being able to solve problems based on my prior experiences as opposed to just textbooks. And I think that's just one of the things that always caught my attention. And it was also the faculty and staff at Marshall. They're all always there to help, and they want to see their students succeed. And I think that's why we're seeing so much talent coming out of Marshall professionally, is because professors and faculty members alike and staff are all investing their time in students. And I think getting the MBA at Marshall goes beyond just an education, but it goes into being a part of a community and being a part of a group of people that care and want to see progress and want to see change and want to just better business in general in whatever way they can.
Thank you so much, Alex. Thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to do this. I know you're probably on a break or you've been working today, so we appreciate you taking the time.
Absolutely. Happy to be here.
Thank you. If we have any questions, you can put them in the chat box. I know if you can feel free to, a lot of them deal with the admissions process usually. But if you have any questions, feel free to put those in the chat box. If you have additional questions, you can contact Wes Spradlin. He's our Associate Director of our graduate programs, and there's his phone number, 304-746-8964, or you can email him at Spradlin, Spradlin 2@marshall.edu. And Mark Solicy is the MBA director. His number is 304-696-2614. And you can email him at Solicy, SOLLOSY @marshall.edu. Are there any questions? I do have a question, and one of the things that I thought about as you were presenting, Mark and Wes, you know, are students able, it sounds like a pretty flexible program. Are students able to go part-time, full-time? How many hours are they required to do each semester? Or can they, or can they do 12 hours a semester? So what's the parameter on that?
Wes, why don't you try to take that? I mean, I know that we accept all of it, but there is a minimum, I think, what, 2 courses to stay as an active student?
So yeah, we do allow students to go part-time or full-time. So part-time program would be 1 or 2 classes or 3 or 6 credit hours. A full-time student would be 9 credit hours for grad school, and you can take a maximum of 12 total hours in the program. That's the max because, you know, graduate level work typically is going to be a lot more intensive and bigger projects and things. So that is reduced compared to undergrad. But one thing that is really nice, as Dr. Solicy had mentioned, is the flexibility of the program. If you start off as a full-time student, you realize that maybe life is too busy, or you know you're unable to keep up with the full-time courses, the following semester you could always drop down to part-time if you needed to. So you could always go from part-time to full-time, or maybe you work in, I know we have some students who work in accounting, and during tax season they're only able to do 1 or 2 classes. So there's no problem of even bouncing back and forth between part-time and full-time. The only thing would be is if you're getting financial aid, you do have to be full-time for that. But as far as our side of things, it's really, we're trying to make it as flexible and convenient as possible. So there is no requirement of part or full-time, and you can go back and forth.
Thank you, Wes. We have a question from Ryan. I am finishing my RBA this summer and exploring graduate school options in the fall. I currently work as a business development director for a government software vendor, and I'm considering either the MPA or the MBA. Why should I pursue the MBA instead of the MPA? And how would the MBA benefit my work consulting with the federal government? Thank you.
Well, I think, you know, obviously both degrees are very valid and very applicable. The advantage, I think, of the MBA over the MPA is the MBA does give you potentially a broader base. And even though you'll be working in the public sector, so much of what's going on in the public sector is is nothing more than a replication of the business sector. And there's nothing, you know, I'll be honest with you, I didn't know what I really wanted to do. And if somebody had ever asked me how my career was going to go so many years ago, I probably would have stared at them blankly. I think I did. As a matter of fact, the joke on campus is I was a 60-year-old doctoral student. If anybody had told me this is where I'd end up doing my career, I would have told them they were crazy. So you never know the turns that life takes. So in that regard, I think that, you know, life is funny and the path that one takes. And I think probably in many ways, the MBA does provide a broader spectrum on which to keep your options open. I mean, the MBA is highly respected and recognized within the public sector. I'm not too sure you would find the reciprocal welcome, where the Masters of Public Administration would be as widely accepted and recognized within the private or business sector. So that, you know, that's one thing to keep in mind, I think, is just the flexibility that the MBA would provide. I hope that answered your question.
Thank you, Dr. Solicy. Any further questions? If not, I would like to thank everyone for visiting us today and being with us this is our very first virtual town hall or open house, and we really appreciate everyone joining us today. If you would like more information, you can visit us online at marshall.edu/COB or any of our social media platforms by going to Heard Business. Dean, Avi, do you have any concluding remarks?
Just wanted to say again, let's stay connected. This is a great family. It's a program that has proven its merits. There are so many successful alumni that vouch for the program. We are there to really get you inducted into the program and make you feel like a son and daughter of Marshall. So please stay in touch and hope to see you in the program. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean Avi. Thank you all for visiting with us today. And always remember, your success is our business. Thank you so much.